Cruz.
Hello, New York! I'm so thrilled and grateful to be here with you today. I'm proud to be here with you today. As Audre Lorde once said, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in the service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. Almost 25 years ago at a Pride rally, very much like this one, right here in New York City, not too far from here in Union Square, the 21-year-old version of me, right off of My So-Called Life, less gray at the temples, with the audacity and vigor of youth, dared to be powerful and defined my vision, and indeed, I became less afraid. My vision, one that would be my life's work on screen and off and continues to drive me today, was that this movement, this revolution, should include and speak to and for all of us. And I know it's hard to imagine for some of you now as we live in this moment when the words diversity and inclusion are spoken so frequently with such ease. But 25 years ago, even 10 years ago, if I'm going to be honest, those words were met with polite smiles and a cavalier disregard. And while we are nowhere near the promised land of full equality today, especially when we look at the number of trans folks murdered, 11 trans black women in this country just this year alone, many more of us stood powerless with even less hope at the outermost margins of this community. We wanted and know we needed more than anything to be heard and seen and included in the struggle for liberation. Black people, brown people, trans people, gender expansive people, women, bi people, immigrants, the disabled. We had stories too. And we hungered and needed to tell them. And so it's overwhelming for me now to see those stories begin to be told. And to be told by us in our own voices. That didn't just happen. It happened because we dared to be powerful in the service of that vision for those that came after us, for you, in fact. The hope for this time, for the opportunities it could afford you, and the empowerment you could find in it is what made me and us less afraid. The promise of you and the power you could wield now. So now I come to you a little bit older, a bit more weathered, and hopefully wiser from the fight and struggle with a question for you. How will you wield that power and expand this movement, this revolution? How will you find space to see beyond your own struggles and your own bodies and make manifest the beloved community Dr. King envisioned and that we yet have to realize? May I be so bold as to make a suggestion. It is this, that as we continue to push for our own individual intersectional communities, that we become conscious and deliberate allies as well. That we extend ourselves to each other. That as men, we see ourselves as feminists. That as citizens, we fight for the lives of immigrants and asylum seekers. That as cisgendered, gay, lesbian, and bi folks, we stand with our trans brothers and sisters. And that we be willing to use our own bodies as weapons. And as Bayard Rustin suggested, we tuck them into places so that the wheels don't turn. I humbly suggest that we walk in that direction. For it is there, in each other, in our willingness to speak out, to fight for, and love each other, that we will truly, finally realize what was promised here. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.